Welcome, friend, to Dream Bites, a podcast where the magic of storytelling meets the power of imagination. Each episode is a warm invitation to explore a world unlike any other, carefully crafted to transport you to new realms of wonder. So, find a cozy spot, settle in, and let the friendly voice of our narrator be your guide on this exciting adventure. And now, dear listener, it's time to embark on today's delightful story.
Symphony of Spheres. Chapter 1. A Symphony Dawns. The Polaris descended through the exoplanet's gossamer atmosphere, its engines a mere whisper against the void. Dr. Elena Petrova gazed out the viewport, her heart thrumming with anticipation as the alien world below came into focus. Half bathed in the warm glow of its star, half draped in shadow, the planet was a study in contrasts, an enigma waiting to be unraveled. Inside the ship, the crew readied to disembark, each lost in their own thoughts. Dr. Kira Sue hunched over her gravitational sensors, her brow furrowed in concentration as she pored over the final checks. Beside her, Dr. Alex Novak fidgeted with his comm unit, his excitement palpable in the tense set of his shoulders. "A new world," he breathed, his voice a mix of awe and trepidation. "Uncharted territory in every sense. Who knows what we'll find down there?" Eleanor turned from the viewport, meeting Alex's gaze. In her eyes, he saw the same hunger for knowledge, the same yearning to push the boundaries of their understanding. "Answers," she said softly, "to questions we've scarcely dared to ask. About the universe, about ourselves." Dr. Tara Singh, the mission's xenobiologist, interjected, her tone measured but firm. "We must tread carefully," she warned. "The absence of visible life doesn't mean it's not there. Perhaps in some form we can't yet comprehend." Eleanor nodded, acknowledging the wisdom in Tara's words. But the fire of curiosity burned too brightly within her to be so easily quelled. "That's why we're here, isn't it?" she asked, her gaze sweeping over the assembled crew. "To learn, to discover, no matter where it leads." A hush fell over the cabin as the airlock hissed open, revealing a landscape that defied description. Spires of shimmering rock reached skyward, their surfaces etched with intricate patterns that seemed to dance in the starlight. The very ground pulsed with an inner luminescence, as if alive with some unknown energy. As they stepped out onto the alien soil, Dr. Sue's instruments burst into a cacophony of sound, a symphony of tones growing in complexity with each passing moment. She frowned, her fingers flying over the readouts as she tried to make sense of the cascading data. "Gravitational fluctuations," she murmured, her voice tight with fascination and disbelief. "But not random. There's a pattern here, a structure, almost like a language." Elena was at her side in an instant, her heart racing as she scanned the displays. "A language," she echoed, her mind reeling with the implications. "But from where?" Dr. Sue looked up, her eyes wide with wonder and trepidation. "From the planet itself," she whispered, "as if it's alive, trying to communicate with us." The crew stood in stunned silence, the weight of this revelation settling over them like a shroud. They had come seeking knowledge, but now it seemed the very world beneath their feet held secrets beyond their wildest imaginings. In the distance, the terminator line between light and shadow shifted, a cosmic dance of unknown purpose. And as they stood on the precipice of discovery, each member of the Polaris crew felt the same heady mix of exhilaration and dread. They were about to embark on a journey that would test not only their understanding of the universe but of themselves, a journey into the very heart of the unknown, from which they might never return. Chapter 2. Echoes in the Void. The crew ventured forth onto the alien landscape, their footsteps swallowed by the fine, crystalline sand that stretched to the horizon. The thin, crisp air carried a faint metallic tang, a whisper of the world's secrets. As they walked, Dr. Sue's instruments sang their enigmatic song, the gravitational fluctuations swelling with each passing moment. "The patterns are intensifying," she murmured, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It's as if the planet is responding to our presence, weaving us into its gravitational symphony." Her fingers danced across the datapad, teasing meaning from the cascade of data. The fluctuations seem to emanate from nodes beneath the surface, a network of resonance that permeates the very fabric of this world. Eleanor nodded, her mind alight with possibility. A form of communication, perhaps, she mused, her gaze sweeping the alien vista. A language we've yet to decipher, spoken through the medium of space-time itself. Alex's eyes gleamed with excitement, the thrill of discovery thrumming through his veins. Imagine the implications, he breathed, his voice hushed with awe. An entire world speaking to us through the dance of gravity, a cosmic symphony waiting to be understood. But Tara's expression remained guarded, a flicker of doubt in her eyes. Or we could be projecting our own desires onto random noise, she cautioned, ever the voice of reason. We need more evidence before we jump to conclusions. The patterns could be a natural phenomenon, divorced from any intent or meaning. Eleanor met her gaze, a spark of challenge flaring between them. Then let's find that evidence, she said, her voice ringing with determination. We've barely begun to explore this world. We can't let caution blind us to the possibilities that lie ahead. As if in answer to their words, the ground beneath them began to tremble, a low thrum that resonated deep within their bones. Dr. Sue's instruments spiked, the gravitational song shifting into a new, more urgent register. Something's happening, she whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. The nodes, they're changing, reacting to our presence. It's as if they're trying to attune themselves to us, to find harmony in our shared resonance. Alex's fingers flew across his scanner, his face a mask of concentration. I'm going to try boosting the signal, he said, his voice taut with anticipation. If I can amplify our own gravitational signature, maybe we can elicit a stronger response, forge a clearer connection. Tara opened her mouth to object, to voice the nagging doubts that plagued her, but before she could speak, Alex activated the scanner. A pulse of gravitational energy burst forth, a ripple in the fabric of space-time that raced out across the planet's surface, a stone cast into the pond of reality itself. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then the world around them erupted into a symphony of light and sound. The ground beneath their feet came alive, pulsing with an inner luminescence that matched the rhythm of the gravitational song. The spires of rock shimmered and danced, their patterns shifting in response to the scanner's call, a conversation in a language beyond words. Elena gasped, her heart racing with a heady mix of wonder and trepidation. It's incredible, she breathed, her voice barely audible above the alien chorus. It's as if the planet is awakening, responding to our presence, inviting us to join in its dance. But Tara's face was etched with concern, her gaze fixed on the distant horizon. Or we've just made a grave mistake, she said softly, her words heavy with foreboding. We have no way of knowing what forces we may have unleashed, what consequences our actions might hold for this delicate ecosystem, this fragile web of life. As the crew stood transfixed by the alien symphony, a sense of unease settled over them, a realization that they were no longer mere observers, but active participants in a cosmic drama whose script they had yet to comprehend. The secrets of the singing planet beckoned, but at what cost to the balance of a world they had only begun to glimpse? In the distance, the eternal sunset painted the sky in hues of fire and shadow, a reminder of the fine line between revelation and oblivion. And as the crew of the Polaris ventured deeper into the unknown, they couldn't shake the feeling that they walked a razor's edge between enlightenment and destruction, the fate of an entire world hanging in the balance of their every choice, their every step. The echoes in the void grew louder, the gravitational song swelling to a crescendo that threatened to overwhelm them. And in that moment, each member of the crew knew that they stood on the threshold of a discovery that would change everything, not just their understanding of the universe, but of themselves, and their place within the grand tapestry of existence. The question that haunted them was not whether they would find the answers they sought, but whether they would be prepared for the truths that awaited them, the revelations that might shake the very foundations of their reality. As they pressed onward into the alien landscape, the crew of the Polaris knew that there could be no turning back. The song of the planet had called to them, and they had answered. Now, all that remained was to see where the music would lead them, into the heart of the unknown, and perhaps to the very edge of themselves. Chapter 3. Dissonant Chords. As the alien symphony swelled around them, a growing sense of unease gripped Dr. Elena Petrova. The once harmonious gravitational song was shifting, subtle discordances emerging like errant notes in a grand cosmic opus. "The patterns are changing," Dr. Kira Su said, her voice taut with concern. "Becoming more chaotic, less predictable. It's as if the planet is struggling to adapt to our presence." Elena frowned, her mind racing. Could our actions have triggered this? She mused, her gaze sweeping over the alien landscape. The scans, the probes, the samples we've taken? Dr. Tara Singh, the mission's xenobiologist, interjected, her expression grim. "The ecosystems here are delicately balanced," she said, calling up a series of images on her display. "Look at these microbes, the foundation of life on this world. They're experiencing rapid mutations, their biological rhythms falling out of sync with the planet's gravitational pulse." A heavy silence fell over the crew as they absorbed the implications. They had come to this world as explorers, driven by a thirst for knowledge and discovery. But now, faced with the consequences of their actions, the weight of responsibility settled upon their shoulders like a leaden shroud. "We need to understand what's happening," Alex said, his fingers flying over his scanners. "If we can map the changes in the gravitational patterns, maybe we can find a way to restore the balance." But even as he worked, the planet's song grew more discordant, the ground beneath their feet trembling with increasing violence. Dr. Su's eyes widened as she stared at her instruments, realization dawning. "Alex, your scans!" she shouted over the rising cacophony. "The amplified signals, they're resonating with the planet's core, causing a cascade effect." Alex's face paled, his hands freezing over the controls. I didn't know," he whispered, his voice barely audible over the roar of the quaking earth. With a deafening crack, the world around them shattered into chaos. The once gentle light fractured into jagged shards, the air itself seeming to vibrate with dissonant energy. The crew clung to each other as the ground heaved and buckled, the planet's crust splintering like glass under the strain of the warring gravitational forces. In the midst of the maelstrom, Elena felt a profound sense of grief and regret wash over her. They had acted with the best of intentions, driven by a desire to learn and understand. But in their eagerness, they had unleashed forces beyond their control, setting in motion a chain reaction that threatened to tear this delicate world asunder. As the skies above them darkened and the eternal sunset took on an ominous red hue, the crew of the Polaris faced a grim reality. They had come to this planet as explorers, but now they found themselves in a desperate race against time to undo the damage they had inadvertently wrought. Failure would mean not only the loss of a wondrous alien ecosystem, but also the crushing realization that even the most well-intentioned actions could have devastating consequences. In the face of this sobering truth, Eleanor squared her shoulders, a glint of determination in her eyes. They had started this, and now it fell to them to make it right. No matter the cost, they would find a way to restore the harmony they had so carelessly disrupted. The fate of an entire world hung in the balance, and the crew of the Polaris would not let it fall. As they stood amidst the chaos, the weight of their choices bearing down upon them, each member of the crew knew that the path ahead would be fraught with peril and uncertainty. But they also knew that they could not turn back, could not abandon the world they had inadvertently thrown into turmoil. The song of the planet had changed, and it was up to them to find a way to weave their own melody back into the cosmic symphony, to restore the delicate balance they had so recklessly upset. In the distance, the jagged spires of rock loomed like silent sentinels, a reminder of the alien wonders that had drawn them to this world. And as the crew of the Polaris steeled themselves for the trials to come, they clung to the hope that somewhere within the dissonant chords of the planet's song, they might yet find a path to redemption, a way to heal the wounds they had inflicted upon this fragile oasis of life. The echoes of their choices reverberated through the alien landscape, a haunting refrain that would follow them wherever their journey might lead. And as they ventured forth into the unknown, each step a gamble against the odds, the crew of the Polaris knew that the true test of their mettle lay ahead, in the crucible of their own making. The dissonant chords of the planet's song would be their guide, their challenge, and perhaps their salvation, as they sought to unravel the mysteries of this alien world and to find a way to restore the harmony they had so foolishly shattered. Chapter 4. Movements and Motifs. As the dissonance in the planet's gravitational symphony reached a fever pitch, Dr. Kira Sue hunched over her instruments, her brow furrowed in fierce concentration. The patterns danced across the screen, a dizzying ballet of chaos and order, challenging her to unravel their enigmatic secrets. "There's a structure hidden within the discord," she murmured, her voice taut with wonder and frustration. "A complex syntax, a logic beneath the chaos. Each fluctuation is like a word, a phrase in some alien language. It's trying to communicate with us." Her fingers flew across the keys, coding and decoding in rapid succession, deploying algorithms and heuristics in a desperate attempt to tease meaning from the maelstrom of data. Fragments of understanding flitted at the edges of her perception, tantalizingly close yet always slipping away, dissolving back into the swirling mathematical sea. Behind her, Dr. Tara Singh stood hunched over the bioscans, her face etched with worry and guilt. "The changes are cascading through the ecosystem," she said softly, her tone heavy with the weight of their missteps. "The microbes are the first to succumb, their delicate metabolic rhythms falling out of sync with the planet's gravitational pulse. But it's only a matter of time before the effects ripple up the trophic levels, unraveling the intricate web of symbiosis that sustains this fragile biosphere." Dr. Elena Petrova and Dr. Alex Novak exchanged a silent glance, a wealth of unspoken fears and regrets passing between them. It was their scans, their probes, their eager pursuit of knowledge that had triggered this calamitous chain reaction, their hubris and curiosity blinding them to the delicate balance of this alien world. "We have to make this right," Alex said, his voice rough with emotion, his eyes haunted by the spectre of their unintended consequences. "We can't let our mistakes destroy an entire world, a cosmic symphony billions of years in the making." Eleanor nodded, her jaw set with grim determination, her gaze alight with the fierce resolve of a mind pushed to its limits. "We'll help Kira decrypt the message," she declared, her words ringing with conviction. "If we can understand what the planet is trying to tell us, maybe we can find a way to restore the harmony we've so recklessly disrupted." As they worked, the Polaris shuddered and groaned around them, the ship's hull straining against the tempestuous gravitational tides. Beyond the viewport, the once mesmerizing alien landscape writhed and contorted, the eternal sunset bleeding into an angry crimson glare, the sky itself seeming to pulse with the planet's pain and fury. The recycled air grew thick and stale, the metallic tang of fear and desperation coating their tongues as they pored over models and simulations, searching for a way to halt the destructive feedback loop they had unwittingly catalyzed. Algorithms and equations flashed across their screens, a dizzying array of variables and permutations, each one a possible lever to pull, a potential pressure point to push back against the unraveling of an entire world. At last, Kira looked up from her console, her eyes blazing with a fierce, almost feverish light. "I have it," she breathed, her voice trembling with mingled triumph and trepidation. "I understand now. The planet, it's not just alive.
It's aware, a gravitational song. It's not just a language. It's a conversation, a billion-year dialogue between the world's core and the intricate web of what it serves. A constant negotiation to maintain the delicate balance.
as the discordant echoes of their mistakes threatened to drown out all else. Each of them felt the true gravity of their mission, the sacred duty that had fallen upon their shoulders. They had set out to unravel the mysteries of the cosmos, but now they found themselves facing the most profound challenge of all. The test of their own compassion, the depth of their empathy, the strength of their resolve to atone for their missteps. Their journey had begun as a quest for discovery, but now it had become something far greater, far more vital. It was a testament to the power of connection, the courage to confront their own shortcomings, the unwavering belief that even in the face of unimaginable complexity and chaos, there was always a way to find harmony, to weave a new melody from the dissonant notes of the universe itself. As they stood on the brink of this pivotal moment, the crew of the Polaris knew that the path ahead would be fraught with uncertainty and peril. But they also knew that they could not turn back, could not abandon the song of this improbable world, could not let their mistakes become the final note in a cosmic symphony billions of years in the making. And so, with a whispered prayer to the stars and a steadfast resolve in their hearts, they prepared to take the first tentative steps on the long and winding road to redemption, guided by the hope that somewhere within the discordant chords of the alien song, they might yet find a way to restore the balance, to rediscover the beauty and wonder that had first drawn them to this distant shore. The dissonant echoes of their choices reverberated through the ship, through their very souls, a haunting reminder of the awesome responsibility they had taken upon themselves. But as they looked to one another, drawing strength from the bonds they had forged in the crucible of this cosmic crisis, they knew that they would face the trials ahead as they had everything else. Together, united by a common purpose, a shared determination to make things right, no matter the cost. And so, as the planet's song swelled around them, a symphony of chaos and possibility, the crew of the Polaris prepared to add their own voices to the mix, to take their place in the grand cosmic dance, and to discover, for better or worse, the true measure of their own humanity, reflected in the shifting gravitational tides of an alien world. Chapter 5. The Final Refrain. Dr. Kira Sue's fingers danced across the console, her eyes locked on the cascading gravitational data that swirled before her like a tempestuous sea of dissonance. The alien patterns shifted and flowed, a complex tapestry of chaos that seemed to defy all attempts at understanding. But beneath the surface, a glimmer of order emerged, a whisper of hope amidst the cacophonous storm. "I think I have it," she breathed, her voice trembling with a heady mix of exhaustion and elation. "The key to their language, the syntax beneath the song. It's a delicate balance, a constant negotiation between the planet's core and the web of life on its surface." Dr. Elena Petrova leaned in, her heart pounding in her chest, her mind alight with the implications of Kira's revelation. "Can we use it to communicate with the planet, to convey our remorse, our desperate desire to make amends for the damage we've wrought?" Kira nodded, her fingers already weaving a message in the gravitational medium, each phrase a delicate thread in the tapestry of reconciliation. "I can craft a signal that echoes their own patterns, a plea for forgiveness couched in the language of space-time itself, but we must be precise, careful. The wrong note, the wrong cadence, and we could make things even worse." As she worked, Dr. Tara Singh and Dr. Alex Novak monitored the planet's vital signs, the fate of an entire world playing out in the delicate dance of adaptation and collapse. The alien ecosystem teetered on the brink, straining to find a new equilibrium in the wake of their disruptive meddling. Hours turned to days as Kira labored over the message, each gravitational phrase a delicate filament in the web of communication, a fragile bridge across the vast gulf of cosmic misunderstanding. At last, she sat back, a flicker of hope dancing in her weary eyes. "It's ready," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the discordant echoes that reverberated through the ship. "A song of contrition, a promise to do better, to learn from our mistakes and honor the delicate balance of this improbable oasis." Elena nodded, a lump forming in her throat, the weight of their collective hopes and fears bearing down upon her like a physical force. "Transmit it," she said softly, her words heavy with the gravity of the moment. "Let the planet feel the depth of our regret, the sincerity of our desire to atone. As the message rippled out into the alien sky, a delicate gravitational aria woven into the fabric of space-time itself, the crew of the Polaris held their breath, the fate of an entire world suspended in the balance. For a long moment, there was only silence, a stillness that stretched across the cosmic expanse, the planet's song frozen in a single, breathless note. And then a miracle. The dissonance in the gravitational symphony began to shift, the discordant chords and fractured rhythms slowly resolving into a new harmony, a delicate equilibrium born of understanding and empathy. It was a melody tinged with sorrow and regret, an elegy for the scars they had inflicted upon this fragile world, but also a hymn of hope and resilience, a testament to the enduring power of connection and compassion. On the bioscans, the cascading failures began to slow, the alien ecosystems finding a new balance, a new way to adapt and thrive in the face of the upheaval they had endured. It was a world forever changed, bearing the marks of their unintended vandalism, but it was alive, pulsing with the tenacious rhythms of life in all its improbable diversity. Tears streamed down Elena's face as she listened to the bittersweet symphony, the weight of their impact etched into every note, every gravitational phrase. They had come as explorers, as seekers of knowledge and understanding, but they would leave as something more, their lives forever entwined with the fate of this alien world, their own story woven into the grand cosmic narrative. As the crew prepared to depart, to leave this improbable oasis to its own devices, they carried with them a profound sense of humility and responsibility, the knowledge that every choice they made, no matter how small, could have far-reaching consequences. They had learned a painful lesson in the delicate balance of discovery and stewardship, in the awesome power of curiosity tempered by compassion. And as the Polaris rose into the alien sky, the haunting refrain of the planet's song echoing in their hearts and minds, they knew that their journey had been a crucible, a test of their own humanity in the face of the unknown. They had stumbled, had made mistakes, but in the end, they had found the courage to confront their own shortcomings, to reach across the gulf of an alien divide, and to find a new understanding, a new way to be in the universe. In the distance, the eternal dance of the binary stars cast a soft glow over the alien landscape, a cosmic ballet of light and shadow that spoke of the enduring mysteries of the universe, the endless cycle of creation and destruction, of dissonance and harmony. And as the crew of the Polaris set their course for home, for the familiar shores of Earth, they carried with them a newfound reverence for the delicate balance of the cosmos, and a deeper understanding of their own place within it, as explorers and stewards, as seekers and healers. Their story would echo through the ages, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity, to the courage to confront the unknown, and to learn from their mistakes. And though the scars they had left upon this alien world would endure, so too would the legacy of their compassion, their willingness to listen and to understand, to reach beyond their own preconceptions, and to find common ground with the improbable and the unfathomable. In the end, the final refrain of the alien symphony would linger long after their departure, a haunting reminder of the fragile beauty of life in all its forms, of the power of connection and the potential for redemption. And as the dissonant echoes faded into the vast cosmic silence, the crew of the Polaris knew that their journey had been a small but vital note in the grand and ancient song of the universe itself, a fleeting moment of understanding and empathy across the endless expanse of space and time. And so, with renewed purpose and humility, they ventured forth once more into the great unknown, forever changed by their encounter with the singing world, forever committed to the sacred duty of exploration and understanding, of cherishing the delicate harmonies of the cosmos, even as they sought to unravel its deepest mysteries. The final refrain of the alien song would be their guide and their inspiration, a reminder of the awesome responsibility and profound joy of discovery, of the endless quest to find beauty and meaning in the vast and wondrous symphony of existence. The end.
And there you have it, dear listener. Another enchanting journey brought to life by the magic of storytelling. We hope that this tale has sparked your imagination, and left you with a sense of wonder. As we close this chapter, remember that there's always another story waiting to be discovered. So keep your sense of curiosity alive, and join us again for the next episode of Dream Bites. Until then, may your own adventures be filled with the same excitement and delight as the ones we've shared here. And always remember, the power of imagination knows no bounds. Thank you for being a part of the Dream Bites story. See you next time.